And the anxiety it creates for a lot of people that live in our city. You can't see this kind of go on indefinitely, and these things don't go on indefinitely.
I know some of the people in that room have been pushing for a foreign home buyers tax. Can you reiterate your position on that? Is that something that you're trying to push the province on?
I have not been pushing the province on this because I've not seen any data put in front of me that suggested that this was at the root of the problem. It was discussed in the meeting, and there were some people who said they were supportive of it. I will say that they sort of offered us all a bit of an education in terms of how we name this tax, because they, suggested that the suggestion that somehow foreigners that are, responsible for any land speculation that's going on is potentially inaccurate and unfair. That there may be a degree, and in fact, many of them said there was for sure a degree of land speculation going on by people making investments in real estate who are not planning to live in those units and sometimes don't even rent them out. But they said the notion that we would know for sure it's foreigners, to use that expression, was something that was probably not accurate and certainly not consistent with the way we name things around here and sort of try to, try to imply that it's people from outside the country doing this. An example was given during the course of the meeting that someone recently saw a group of people who were of Chinese ancestry buying houses, and would you reach the conclusion that they were from China buying those houses, or might you more accurately reach the conclusion they were from Markham or from somewhere else in Toronto buying houses? So I think that was a lesson they shared with the table. A number of people did that I think was well taken in terms of how we name these things. There is no question but that the people around the table feel that speculation in real estate is contributing to the rise in prices. And if you said to me, was there any one measure that there was kind of so say you all and everybody put their hand up, I would say no. There were people who suggested some kind of a tax on speculation. There was mention of the vacant unit tax, but I would say there was no kind of unanimity or even consensus around the table that you should do this or that as a means of trying to cool the market a bit, although people saw the cooling of the market as being a desirable objective.
Mayor Tory, can you talk about the vacant home tax, just in terms of who would be targeted there, and how would you even enforce something like that for homes that are?
Well, when you say who would be targeted, I mean, obviously we would be looking for homes that are genuinely vacant. And again, I've heard, and I do smile, but I've heard from people who told me on, streets in the city that there are 2 or 3 houses that sit empty, and nobody knows exactly why they sit empty. And I don't mean empty because the people are way down south for the summer, or for the winter rather, but I mean empty as in completely empty. And they sit empty for a long time. And so you don't know exactly why they're empty. I mean, you could go look up who owns them. That's publicly available information. And so what we're now going to do is explore the data we do have that suggests from water and hydro and things like that these properties are vacant, see what that suggests in terms of any patterns, and then go from there to see what you could do to provide a disincentive, as it were, for people to keep those properties vacant. We want those properties to be on the market, available for people to own or to rent, because we don't view housing as just another investment like something in the stock market. We view it as a scarcity that we have in the city of places for people to live. And so we will look at that with our officials and bring forward a report in due course with respect to whether this is the right way to go about helping with this and how you do it. I don't know the answer to your question at the moment. I'm sorry, one at a time. Go ahead. You've had one question already, so maybe we'll go here.
It's also a follow-up question.
That's fine.
Was there any discussion about what a possible rate for this vacant property tax may be?
No.
Is there any data suggesting that the 65,000 number spiked once British Columbia put in their tax?
No. In fact, that's why I'm trying to be very responsible about this. I mean, again, in this business, people would much prefer sometimes that you sort of come rushing forward and say, Eureka, I found the answer and we're going to implement it tomorrow morning. We're going to be careful about this, but recognizing there's a sense of urgency about it. So we're going to take the data we have. We're going to see how we can refine it using more information we have from places like hydro and water. We will then, with the help of our officials, obviously, take a look at what mechanism could help to make it possible for some of those units to be back on the market, as it were, whether it's the rental market or the ownership market, because if you could take half of those, 65,000, if that's the correct number, and have those back into the marketplace, that would make a difference. And so we're looking to make a difference on these things, but I'm looking to do it responsibly and effectively, and there were no details discussed, and there are none that I can share with you because we're at a very preliminary stage. But it is one thing we've identified that we could do something on, and we have the precedent of Vancouver to look at, but we've just begun to do that now.
Mr. Mayor?